I've watched brilliant people give up, not because they weren't capable, but because they thought they were too late. And if that's you, if part of you believes your best years are behind you, let me just say, with complete certainty, you're wrong. This one mindset shift changes everything. And the truth is, if you're over 50, you need to hear this more than anyone else. Because the world will try to retire you before your spirit's even done living. Today's, we are not talking about technology, we're talking about you. It's about what happens when the world tells you you're done and you decide you're not. If you're over 50 and you feel like something inside of you still wants to build, to start, to try, this conversation is for you. Because what matters most isn't your age, it's your direction. And one tiny shift in how you think, especially after 50, can be the difference between feeling irrelevant and becoming unstoppable. Let me ask you something. Where are you listening from right now? Are you in the US, Europe, Australia? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know where your journey is unfolding. And if you're enjoying this video, like and subscribe to this channel. It helps us reach more people like you who need this. Let me tell you something I've never forgotten. Back when I started SpaceX, I was 31. People told me, you're too late, NASA has already done it, you can't compete. Now, imagine if I had started SpaceX at 51. Imagine the noise, the judgment, the you should slow down voices, that pressure, that subtle way the world tells older people to shrink. And yet, that's exactly when many people finally have clarity, emotional intelligence, and discipline that younger people don't. Here's the truth. Most people after 50 think in terms of loss. Time lost, dreams lost, energy lost. But I want you to flip that. What if everything you've lived through has prepared you, not punished you? What if you're not in decline, but just arriving? Because that's the truth no one talks about. When I launched Neuralink, I was almost 45. When I started building Starship, I was already past 50. And I still don't think I've hit my best work. So here's the shift. Stop thinking time is your enemy. Start seeing experience as your superpower. You're not behind, you're loaded. You've got emotional data, decades of wisdom, and a radar that 25-year-olds wish they had. Let's make this real. Here's what I suggest, and these aren't ideas from books. These are things you need to live by. 1. Reclaim a beginner's mindset. I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. You don't need permission to reinvent yourself. Learn, experiment, tinker again. You can fail privately and learn even faster. 2. Audit your environment. Are the people around you saying slow down or what's next? Find people who treat you like the best part of your story hasn't been written yet. 3. Start one hard thing. Doesn't matter what it is. A book, a product, a habit. Just one hard thing and finish it. Because completion rewires your brain to trust yourself again. I know some of you listening feel invisible. Maybe your job phased you out. Maybe your kids moved on. Maybe no one asks for your advice anymore. But let me remind you, some of the most world-changing things are built when no one's watching. You don't need a million followers. You need one moment of courage to shift your mindset from I'm too late to I'm just getting started. I want to go deeper into the biggest enemy of your mindset after 50. And it's not age. It's something far more dangerous and subtle. And I'll also give you one daily habit that can literally rewire how you think about fear and the future. You'll want to hear it. Because this shift, if you let it in, can change the next 30 years of your life. Stay with me. We're just getting started. So let's go deeper. Because if there's one thing that silently robs more people over 50 of their energy, drive, and belief in their future, it's not their health. It's not even money. It's invisible discouragement. The slow, quiet kind that doesn't shout. It just whispers, you're not needed anymore. And if you don't recognize that voice, it will shape your future. People think the danger after 50 is that you'll run out of time. But the real danger, you stop aiming high and start aiming safe. That's the moment that decay begins, not in your body, but in your belief system. You stop asking, what can I build now? What would make me feel alive again? What can I solve for others? And instead, you start asking, how do I stay comfortable? How do I keep things stable? How do I avoid risk? But the truth is, and I say this with urgency, the moment your vision shrinks, your energy follows. I've seen this happen to brilliant engineers, teachers, entrepreneurs, creators. They didn't run out of time. They ran out of why. Here's the mindset you need to use, and it's powerful at any age, but especially after 50, try to be useful. Do things that are useful to your fellow human beings, to the world. This is not about success for attention. It's about success through contribution. Because here's something strange I've learned. When you shift from what am I losing to what can I contribute, your brain wakes up again. Even your body wakes up. Purpose gives your nervous system a reason to move forward. So ask yourself today, what is one thing I can still do that helps someone else? That's the spark. That's the re-entry point to momentum. Let's make this extremely practical. You can do these things today. 1. Track usefulness, not age. Start writing down daily one way you were useful. Even small, especially small. This tells your brain you're still needed, you still matter. It rewires identity. That's the first lever. 2. Switch from outcome goals to purpose goals. Instead of, I want to earn X, try, I want to solve this problem for this type of person. Why? Because problems don't age, and people of any age can solve them. 3. Redefine growth as service. Most people after 50 think growth is about more money. I believe growth is being able to take what you've learned and apply it in a way that improves the future. It could be your local community. It could be a digital product, a podcast, a small business. Something useful, even to 10 people, is more powerful than sitting still for the next 30 years. If no one has told you this lately, let me. You are not done. You're not past your prime. You're not retired from having purpose. You don't have to stay in preservation mode. There is still another chapter to write, and the page is blank. And you're not writing it for the world, you're writing it for your soul. Next, we're going into something even more important, a mindset most people never even realize they're trapped in until they've wasted 10 years of their life coasting. It's the hidden belief that your best days are meant to feel easy. And I'll tell you why that belief is one of the most dangerous illusions of aging. I'll also share how you can structure your thinking to stay energized and avoid burnout, even when the odds are against you. You'll want to hear this, especially if you've been feeling stuck or drained lately. Tell me in the comments, what's one skill or idea you've learned in your life that could help someone younger? Drop it below. You'll be surprised who it helps. And don't forget to like and subscribe if this is helping you unlock something inside. You've got more power than you know. So let me ask you something directly. When did we start believing that life after 50 should be about avoiding discomfort? That if it feels hard, it's wrong. That if it feels uncertain, it's dangerous. That if it feels new, it's not for us anymore. That belief is a trap. And I'm telling you, the most dangerous day in your life is the day you start seeking ease over growth. I've said this before and I'll say it again. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. Now here's the truth. Most people over 50 never get told. You don't need more comfort. You need a bigger why. You don't wake up at 5 a.m. because it's easy. You wake up because something matters. If you're feeling bored, disconnected, or emotionally flat, it's not because you're too old. It's because your days stop demanding something from you. A lot of people ask me, how do you keep going when the pressure is massive? I'll tell you exactly what to do. Step 1, attach meaning to the struggle. Don't see pain as a sign you should quit. See it as a signal that you're building something that matters. If something is important enough, even if the odds are against you, you should still do it. Step 2, compress risk into small testable bets. That's how SpaceX launched rockets. That's how Tesla started with one prototype, not a billion-dollar factory. So if you're over 50, this applies to you even more. You don't need to bet the farm. You just need to bet on yourself in small, consistent ways. Try one new thing this month, one conversation, one class, one tool, one walk down a different path. The goal is movement, not mastery. If you've ever said, I've done my part, I already built something, I don't need to grow anymore, then I want you to pause and really think about this. Would you say the same thing about your mind, your relationships, your potential to impact someone right now? I've heard people say this at 58 and they're tired. I've heard others at 75 say, I feel more alive now than I ever have. What's the difference? The second group stayed engaged with purpose, even if it was imperfect, messy, or small. Let me give you 3 practical ways to rewire your thinking after 50, starting now. 1. Replace retire with repurpose. You're not here to fade, you're here to re-aim. Take your skills, your knowledge, your resilience, and point them at a new mission. It doesn't have to be a company. It could be mentoring, inventing, writing, speaking, guiding. 2. Redefine hard as a signal of alignment. When something feels challenging, don't retreat. Ask, is this discomfort a sign that I'm growing again? Most growth is uncomfortable before it becomes empowering. 3. Schedule what scares you slightly. Every week, do something that makes you uncomfortable on purpose. Why? Because you don't build courage by reading about it. You build it by doing small, brave things when nobody's watching. You know, I've often said, when something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. That doesn't stop being true at 50, or 60, or 80. Because here's what I believe. The moment you stop challenging yourself, you start shrinking. But the moment you start leaning back into uncertainty, your future expands again. Even if you're just learning one new thing, even if it's 1 hour a day, tell me honestly in the comments, what's one thing you've been putting off because you thought it was too late? A project, a dream, a skill, a second chance? Say it out loud. Someone else will read it and realize they're not alone. Also, hit that like button if you're still with me. It shows that this message matters. Next, I'll break down a truth that can change your life. Why most people over 50 unknowingly downgrade their future, not because of failure, but because of comparison. And I'll show you how to eliminate the comparison trap for good and start operating in what I call your second genius zone. It's the single mindset to keep innovating when others plateau. Stay with me. The shift coming is the key to unlocking your next 20 years. If you keep measuring your value by someone else's timeline, you're going to throw away the most powerful decade of your life without ever realizing you had it. Most people over 50 downgrade themselves not because they failed, but because they compared themselves out of momentum, and that is where they lose everything. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, but it has to be objective. What does that mean for you? It means most people aren't stuck because they're not capable. They're stuck because they're constantly measuring their progress against someone else's success. You're 54 and trying to compare yourself to a 32-year-old YouTuber or a 28-year-old startup founder, or even worse, your past self in a completely different season of life. That's not feedback, that's self-sabotage disguised as ambition. It's important to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. So let's apply that here. What are your first principles? What matters to you now? What do you want your next 10 years to stand for? What do you want your influence, your contribution, your daily impact to look like? Stop borrowing timelines that don't belong to you. You are in a different race now, and your new edge isn't speed, it's wisdom. Here are 3 tools you can start applying immediately to shift out of the comparison trap. 1. Daily metrics that are under your control. Focus on what you can directly influence, not just outcomes. Focus on signal over noise. Don't waste time on things that don't actually make the product better. So for you, that means, did you make progress on your health today? Did you communicate something that mattered? Did you use your energy wisely? Stop counting what others are doing. Start counting what you are shaping. 2. Weekly reviews, focused on depth, not speed. Ask yourself, did I learn something new this week? Did I help someone? Did I solve a small problem? The human brain loves progress, but after 50, the real metric is depth of impact, not pace of progress. 3. Replace jealousy with study. Instead of thinking, they're ahead of me, train your mind to say, what can I learn from how they think? Don't envy people, download mental models. You should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong. That's humility, that's focus, and that's your edge after 50. Here's a subtle but powerful truth. Your peak creativity doesn't die after 50, it changes lanes. In your 20s and 30s, your edge may have been energy. In your 50s and beyond, it becomes clarity, pattern recognition, judgment. This is why some of the most respected advisors, thinkers, and strategists in the world are in their 60s, 70s, 80s. You don't need 16-hour days. You need insight applied at the right moment. That's how rockets launch, not with effort alone, but with precision. That's how businesses scale. That's how ideas become movements. Don't delude yourself into thinking something's working when it's not, but don't walk away from something just because it takes time. And that applies especially to you after 50. If you're starting a new career, a side project, a community idea, the world doesn't need it to be fast. It needs it to be real. Drop this in the comments. I'm in my own race now, because you are, and someone else needs to read that today. This is a global conversation. Your story matters. Next, I'll share the mindset shift to reignite vision when others stall. It's a simple strategy, but it unlocks a mindset of limitless contribution, especially for adults who think their best ideas are behind them. You'll see how the next 10 years could become your most fulfilling. Don't stop here. We're building towards something powerful. We're not done yet. Your shift is still unfolding. If your vision isn't bigger than your schedule, then your life is running on default, not design. And that's the danger most people fall into after 50. They stop building their future and start managing their limitations. But you don't have to think like that. Let's call out the pattern. Once people reach their 50s, especially in the US, Australia, and Europe, they shift their focus from creation to preservation. They maintain a job instead of creating new meaning. They maintain relationships instead of deepening connection. They maintain health instead of building vitality. But here's something profound about this kind of mindset. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. And most adults over 50, they stop setting goals worth working for. Not because they lack time, but because they've let go of permission to dream again. Don't rely on motivation. Engineer systems that generate momentum. I don't believe in process. In fact, when I interview someone and they talk about process a lot, that's a bad sign. I believe in vision, direction, impact, because when you have a compelling vision, you stop asking, how do I stay productive? And you start asking, how do I make something that matters? Here's how you can practically apply this thinking to your next decade. 1. Start with what you can't stop thinking about. If there's an idea, problem, or contribution that keeps coming back, don't ignore it. I look at the future from the standpoint of probabilities. It's like a branching stream of possibilities, and I try to maximize the probability of a good future. You can apply that too. Ask, what would make the next 10 years a contribution worth remembering? Write it down. Keep it simple, but commit to it. 2. Use friction as a compass. What feels hard right now? Not physically, mentally. Is it learning new tech? Reaching out to people you lost touch with? Starting something that feels late? Being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. That's not pessimism, it's realism. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, but you do need to stop running from discomfort because that's where your new meaning hides. 3. Build backwards from your ideal week. Start from first principles. What are we trying to accomplish? So ask yourself, what would a meaningful week look like at this stage of life? Time with people you love? Learning something new? Solving a problem you've always cared about? Now, design your calendar around that. A lot of people think technology just automatically gets better every year, but it actually doesn't. It only gets better if smart people work like crazy to make it better. Now, apply that to your life. You won't feel more fulfilled automatically. It only happens when you design it deliberately. Vision gives life friction, purpose, and forward movement. So the question isn't, am I too late? The question is, what do I want to move toward that still excites me? This one is simple, and it's powerful. Will this matter in 10 years? Try using that today. The people you invest in, the projects you commit to, the habits you protect, ask, in 10 years, will I be glad I gave this my attention? That single filter removes 80% of the noise from your life. Let's reset right here. What is one thing you've always wanted to build or do, but delayed? Drop it in the comments. No shame, no judgment, just awareness. I will show you how to build your energy engine without overworking yourself. We'll go deeper into how to manage energy, not just time. This part is especially critical for adults 50 plus who feel mentally tired, drained, or scattered. This mindset around sustainable momentum will show you how to stop burning out, start feeling on mission again, and rebuild confidence with action. We are getting close to the full mindset shift. Stay with me. You're not here to settle. You're here to rise. The biggest lie after 50, that you have less energy and it's all downhill from here. Not true. What's really happening is this. You're still using a mental operating system that was built for survival, not innovation. And if you don't upgrade that, you don't slow down, you shut down. But I'll show you how to change it, because the same method helps to scale thinking across industries, and it applies just as much to your own life after 50. Let's stop thinking of energy as something you get from food or sleep alone. You don't need 10 hours of sleep to feel alive. You need alignment. Most people are drained not because they're aging, but because they're mentally disorganized. Here's what I mean. When you're forcing your brain to do things that have no long-term utility, no curiosity, no vision. It fights you. You get fatigue, not from age, but from misalignment. Use this mental framework. Energy equals direction and simplicity. Let me translate that into your world. After 50, your brain doesn't want more tasks. It wants clean direction. So every time you feel tired or overwhelmed, ask, am I doing too much or just doing too many unaligned things? This clarity alone reclaims mental bandwidth, which creates energy. Here are 3 hidden energy drains that almost every adult over 50 experiences, and how to stop them. 1. Passive consumption, scrolling, channel, surfing, even background news. These don't entertain you. They fragment your attention. And once your focus is fragmented, your energy gets scattered. Limit exposure to random inputs. Set time windows where you choose what enters your brain. Think of your attention as prime real estate. Don't rent out your mind to things that won't build your future. 2. Unfiltered input from others. At this stage in life, unsolicited opinions become dangerous. Not because they're always wrong, but because they crowd out your inner signal. Cut back on noise from people who haven't built anything. Before you take advice, ask, is this person building a future or reacting to one? Only filter in high signal sources. 3. Mental multitasking. It's not heroic to juggle 12 tasks. It's inefficient. After 50, your greatest strength is concentration, not hustle. So stop switching between thoughts every few minutes. Instead, batch decisions, batch problems, batch distractions. That alone gives you back hours of clear focus per week, and you'll feel it. When you evaluate a challenge, always ask, will this matter in 5 years? If it won't, drop it or delegate it. You can use the same filter in your daily life, not just for work, for your peace of mind. If a task, a conversation, or a thought isn't helping your future self, let it go. You don't owe your energy to every notification or expectation. Right now, I want you to comment, what's been the biggest drain on your energy this year? I want to see what's showing up across the world. At this age, your cognitive leverage is higher. You have more insight, more pattern recognition, more wisdom, but that only matters if you have the energy to act on it. This is where most people fall off. They believe the lie that age equals decline. But the truth is, if you manage your inputs, remove distraction, and stay aligned, your output can actually increase after 50. This is how you create mental leverage without burning out. Before we move on, remember, simplify your calendar, guard your input stream, focus on what will compound in 5 years, not what's urgent today. You're not in a race anymore. You're in a build phase, and what you build now can completely redefine your next 2 decades. Next, I'll give you the exact mindset shift that changes how you operate every day after 50. You can use it when making billion-dollar decisions, and it applies even more to your personal life. It's how you restructure your entire second half of life and win. Stay with me. This is where everything shifts. So here it is, the mindset shift that changes everything after 50. It's not motivational, it's not spiritual, it's strategic, and it's how you can make almost every decision every day. And the shift is this: stop living to protect what you've built and start living to invent what's next. After 50, most people unconsciously switch into defense mode. They stop building, they stop experimenting, they start managing, protecting, conserving, and I want to tell you that is the moment when decline begins. The real problem after 50 is not age, it's mental inversion. You were once driven by curiosity, challenge, risk, learning, but now you've probably started asking, what if I lose what I've built? What if I fail now that I'm older? What if it's too late? Those are the wrong questions. Here's what to do instead. Every day ask, what would I try today if I wasn't afraid of starting over? That question alone resets your mind into creation, not protection. Because creativity is energy and protection is decay. When you make this shift, here's what changes. 1. Your decisions become clearer. You stop filtering choices through fear. You start filtering them through impact. That means you'll take the call, start the idea, join the thing, learn the tech, not because you're certain, but because you're curious. 2. You wake up with purpose. After 50, purpose is not something you find. It's something you build by doing meaningful things that stretch you. The most energized people I know at any age are building something bigger than themselves. And that can be a project, a community, an idea, or a habit. But it must involve forward movement. 3, you stop apologizing for starting again. There's this quiet shame people carry after 50. They think, I should have figured this out by now. That's wrong. Every system in the world, nature, business, science, goes through cycles of reinvention. If you're still repeating your past at 50, you're not growing, you're reliving. So shift out of shame, step into vision. You don't need validation, you need velocity. Let me give you the system I recommend to anyone over 50. Step 1, audit what you're defending. List 3 things in your life you're maintaining only out of fear of change. Ask, would I still choose these today if I had no history with them? If not, redesign them. Step 2, build something you're not ready for, whether it's a side hustle, an invention, a course, a plan. Start something you're underqualified for. Why? Because challenge equals energy, and energy equals momentum. Step 3, design one uncomfortable interaction per week. Call someone smarter than you. Ask a question that humbles you. Take advice from someone younger. This keeps your mind flexible and protects you from mental aging. Step 4, create your next 20-year vision. I mean this literally. Write down, what do I want to be excellent at in the next 20 years? This is not a bucket list, it's a blueprint. You are still building, and this is your master plan. Step 5, cut 25% of what's draining you. Don't delay this. Look at your calendar, commitments, people, digital input, and cut 25%. You can't power your second life on clutter. You need bandwidth to evolve. You are not in decline. You are not past your prime. You're simply in a system that doesn't teach reinvention after 50. But now you know the second half of your life is not a continuation, it's a redesign. And this one shift from protecting what was to inventing what can be is how you take full control of the next 20 years. It's how you move from repetition to relevance, from preservation to possibility. Tell me in the comments, what are you going to reinvent starting this week? Let the world see you start again. And where are you listening from? Drop your city. I want to see how global this movement is. And if this opens something in you, like and subscribe, because we've only scratched the surface.